Hi, I'm Kenzie. Welcome back to my podcast. If you are just joining, welcome. Today we will be talking about my 22nd Little Bear VHS fishing adventures. This VHS includes Little Bear and the Sea Monster, Fisherman Bear's Big Catch, Fishing with Father Bear, and Message in a Bottle. First, let's talk about Little Bear and the Sea Monster. This episode starts out with Little Bear fishing while Owl watched on the dock. While Little Bear was fishing, he sang a song which Father Bear loves to sing when they fish together. It started to get foggy. A fog alarm went off. Suddenly, Little Bear caught something. It pulled him and Owl away from the dock. The rope was not secure, so they went on a wild ride. After a while, it turned out Little Bear caught a sea monster. He and Owl called to Mermaid for help because they were good luck. So Mermaid entered the scene and stopped the boat. As she consoled the sea monster that Little Bear won't hurt him, he took the hook out of the sea monster's mouth and the sea monster was all better. Little Bear and Owl apologized to the sea monster and it was on its way. Then Mermaid took Little Bear and Owl back to the dock. The scene transitions to Father Bear entering the scene to see how Little Bear and Owl were doing. They told him everything that had happened, even the part about the sea monster. Then the scene transitions to Little Bear, Father Bear, and Owl walking home to have lunch. And that's how the episode ends. Now let's talk about the episode as a whole. I feel like this episode had a lot of action. I mean, how often do you see a sea monster pulling you all around the water? It's a good thing Mermaid helped Little Bear and Owl get back to the dock, otherwise they would have been screwed. All in all, it's a good episode. It surely did take imagination to the next level. Now let's talk about Fisherman Bear's Big Catch. This episode starts out on a dark and stormy night. Little Bear was inside with Fisherman Bear pretending to fish. The storm was getting worse, so they pulled in their lines and pretended the bed was a boat and it was rocking back and forth. Then the scene transitions to Little Bear's imagination. He and Fisherman Bear were on a real boat fishing for a big fish. A big fish was heading their way. It turned out it was just Mighty the whale. He was looking for someone to play with. As he was doing that, Little Bear and Fisherman Bear continued to fish. Suddenly, an octopus tickled Little Bear. He was looking for someone to play with too. He took Fisherman Bear. Then Mermaid entered the scene to help Little Bear get him back. The scene transitions to Mermaid and Little Bear swimming underwater. They found a cave where Octopus was playing with Fisherman Bear. They were having a tea party, but Little Bear needed Fisherman Bear to help with the fishing. He tickled Octopus, and suddenly he released Fisherman Bear, and Little Bear caught him. Octopus still needed someone to play with, though. Then Little Bear had an idea. Octopus could play with Mighty. So Mermaid took Octopus to Mighty, and the scene transitions to Little Bear and Fisherman Bear fishing on the boat again. Fisherman Bear caught a big fish. Then the scene transitions to reality, where Little Bear finished the fishing story to Fisherman Bear. Then Father Bear entered the scene. He just got home. Little Bear ran outside to hug him. He asked Father Bear if he caught a big fish. He did. Then they went inside so Little Bear could tell Father Bear his fishing story. And that's how the episode ends. Now let's talk about the episode as a whole. I feel like this episode was full of action. It was certainly a complicated story too. I mean, Fisherman Bear gets taken away by Octopus, but Mermaid and Little Bear go to rescue him, so Little Bear has him to go fishing together. All in all, it's a good episode. Now let's talk about Fishing with Father Bear. This episode starts out with an early bird trying to pull a worm out. Little Bear needed the worm because he and Father Bear were going fishing together. Father Bear had the sandwiches, the apples, the hot chocolate, and the cookies Mother Bear made. He and Little Bear had a big day ahead of them. They hummed Blow the Man Down. On the way, Little Bear and Father Bear decided to have a cookie to tide them over. Then the scene transitions to Little Bear and Father Bear walking toward a boat. They pushed it in the water. Then the scene transitions to Father Bear rowing him and Little Bear out to the lake. Little Bear helped Father Bear row. After a while, they chose just the right spot for fishing. Father Bear put a fishing hook on Little Bear's hat to bring him luck. Then they both put a worm on their fishing rods. Well, Little Bear tried to put a worm on his, but the worm didn't want to go fishing. So he used Father Bear's fishing rod. And then Father Bear taught Little Bear how to cast. Then they waited. Fishing made them hungry. So the scene transitions to them having lunch. Little Bear wondered how Father Bear slept at sea. Father Bear told him that he had his own bedroom with a picture of Little Bear and Mother Bear by his bunk. He also had a kitchen and everything he needed to cook with. Suddenly, Little Bear's bobber went under. There was a fish on the line. So Little Bear reeled it in, but it was just a little fish, which they didn't want. So Little Bear put the fish back in the lake. Then Father Bear took off Little Bear's fishing hat so he could see if there were any bigger fish. So Little Bear jumped out of the boat and into the lake. He swam just like a fish. Then Father Bear went in. After some splashing, Little Bear caught a fish for Mother Bear. Then Father Bear caught Little Bear. They had so much fun splashing around in the lake. And that's how the episode ends. Now let's talk about the episode as a whole. I feel like this episode was a good one. It showed Little Bear and Father Bear having fun together in many different ways. Not only did they fish, but they even went swimming in the lake. They are so lucky they're bears. All in all, it's a good episode. Now let's talk about Message in a Bottle. This episode starts out with Little Bear fishing. Mother Bear entered the scene with a basket of blueberries for a pie. Little Bear ate a few. The fish were biting, but they were too small. As Mother Bear walked away, Little Bear continued to fish. He caught another one, but it was too small too. Then he caught a shell with a jar. He listened to the ocean inside the shell. Then Mermaid entered the scene. She and Little Bear went swimming to find more shells. They found all kinds. Then a big red fish swam by. Little Bear thought it would be perfect for fish stew. He held on tight to its tail. Suddenly he got caught in the fishing net with all the other fish. Mermaid helped free him, but the shells and the fish went away. As Little Bear and Mermaid swam back up, they said goodbye to each other and Mermaid swam away. The scene transitions to Little Bear catching a great big fish which was perfect for fish stew. He put it in his bag. The scene then transitions to Mother Bear making fish stew. Little Bear tasted it. It was delicious. Then Father Bear came home with a surprise for Little Bear. It was a jar with a boat made of shells inside. What a coincidence, because the shells looked the same as the ones he and the mermaid collected. The thing was, Father Bear said that you never can tell with mermaids. Little Bear looked at his surprise as he agreed with Father Bear. And that's how the episode ends. Now let's talk about the episode as a whole. I feel like this episode was a good one, although the title is a little confusing since all Little Bear did was look for shells and put them in a jar. I guess what the writers are trying to tell us is that the shells are like a special treasure and the jar acts like a bottle. Also, the shells must tell us a message, that shells are quite the treasure, to keep them from an exciting adventure. All in all, it's a good episode despite the confusing title, but I think I get what the writers are going for. So yeah, that's Fishing Adventures. If you would like to play again, just go back to the beginning of this episode. See you next time. Bye!